Hi guys, welcome to the NiKo show. Today we are going to be talking about live service games. Now, according to me, live service games are not live service. They are dead service. Because most of the times I think these games are bare bones. They don't have any semblance of passion in it. Yes, there might be some aspects of it which are passionate, but most of the times the games are just dead. They're just they just consist of loops, of endless loops of grinding, and some shallow semblance of progression, and then you get some rewards after you reach a certain level, and then that's it. So they basically give you some amount of dopamine hits, but that's about it. That is the crux of all the live service games these days. Now there are some like Destiny 2, which had some story, right? Story elements which keep people playing, which keep people engrossed in those worlds. That is why some games are still alive today, that they had some amount of content, some amount of depth beneath them, and there was a vision behind them. That is why they are alive. Now many companies, what happened is during the and I know many people know this, that during COVID, these live service games sort of had this big boom, especially games like Genshin Impact. These games saw a lot of revenue coming in, and other companies just wanted to capitalize on it. Now unfortunately, or fortunately, the pandemic is gone, right? So things have changed again. People are back to their work, people are going outside, they have things to do. So every live service game cannot be successful, because the existing live service games have already taken up the market share dominantly, right? And even the games that these companies were copying, like Destiny 2, these big games which have a lot of player base, Fortnite, all these games have already taken up market share, and now Destiny 2 itself is declining. Now it has its phases, but as of now it's on a decline, and with Marathon coming out, I think most people are going to be playing that. Now obviously those two games are unrelated, but still. So that's the problem with the live service games, is that those games are not built to last, right? Maybe the intention behind them is to have a big legacy, to have a lot of money coming in from microtransactions, but we all know that not every game logically and practically cannot just exist forever, right? But I still don't understand why these game companies are hell-bent on giving us these shallow experiences, rather than designing good games that just a player can play once and just be done with it, and then just keep him in his library, and then keep replaying it again whenever he wants, whenever he or she wants. And that is the problem with live service games, is that they are designed not to be deep or deliver value. They are made to extract value from customers but not give anything in return. That is why these live service games are dead on arrival. And the problem is that major companies like Sony and Xboxes, and even uh, like major game companies like Respawn, when they formed into Wildlight Studios, even then they decided to chase these trends rather than give us a game with a vision behind it, with a cohesive plan, that okay, this is going to be a world, this is going to be the lore behind it, these are going to be the characters. Like, none of it feels very organic. I don't know, I hate that word, but I don't know what word to use instead of that. Like, all these games have this generic feel to them, like they are some form of AI prompts which have been served to us, and is expected that we invest our time into these games. Now, one particular reason why I hate live service games is that you have to be persistently online, right? You have to. So if the internet connection goes off, you're done, you cannot play the game. So that is one reason why I think these live service games are sort of dying, because most of the people, especially if you are in the age group of 20 to 40, you have, or 50 or whatever, you have responsibilities, right? You have to do the work, the adulting work, and then come back, and then whatever time you get, you want a seamless experience. Now imagine if you lose your internet connection, gone. You cannot play the game. You cannot play those two matches. You cannot play Destiny 2. You cannot play Division 2. You cannot play any game. Crew you cannot play, because Ubisoft decided to shut down the server and Crew is gone. Crew 2, they are trying to get it offline. Crew Motorfest, again hybrid model, they are working on it. But see, do you get the point? That is the main hiccup that you experience when you are just giving someone an online only experience. That is the first foundational error which personally irritates me that about these live service games, that they are always, almost always online. And that's it. Then the second point is that due to it being an online only thing, they tend to not put much effort into it. Like whenever we have these sort of games that are coming out, these don't have many, these don't have much effort put into it by the developers, just because they know it is going to be discarded, or there is going to be a seasonal form of content. And what they do is they just slap some seasonal number and some number behind it, and then they expect that people will come back for a new experience in the same world, and they'll just change some assets here and there, and then they will call it a day, and they will repackage it as a new season. Now that is something which is sometimes it can work, because if you have a big persistent world like Destiny, which has a lot of depth in its lore, so yes, you can change things around, and it can appear that it is something different. But if your game world is very restricted, like Highguard was, you don't have much scope to present new concepts or new mechanics or new modes even. Now let's be honest, Highguard in itself was a one game mode which was glorified into a game and termed as Highguard. So that was the primary reason why it failed. So despite of these errors, first being always online, second being a very similar samey experience, even when you play these games uh, like months apart, you see, yes, there are some changes in them, like UI changes, all these changes, they do happen in these games, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money for them to do it. So these companies, they want to make money, but in this process of putting out live services as game, they are leaking money out of their own pockets. Now that is something I don't care about, but the thing is, time and money is going into making the games that we don't want to play. Right? We cannot play live service games every day, every week, every month. No, we need some experiences that are finite, that get completed. Right? So that is just one of the things which I was just thinking about. Like when you look back at the last year up until now, and look at the single player games and compare it with the live service games, you will clearly see which games are successful, which games are beloved by the community, right? And that is the root of gaming, the community, we, the players, right? Everybody who loves games, they play a certain type of game. They know when a game is good, and they know when a game is not good. So so one thing is that these so I discussed two aspects which I hate about live service games, and two aspects which these aspects are, in my opinion, also uh, making these games dead on arrival, is those two reasons. First being always online, second being that not much effort put into it, third that they just put out a seasonal model, a battle pass, slap a battle pass on it, and they just call it a day, and they expect us to give them money. That is not how game works. Now look at the single player side of things. Look at games like Witcher. Look at game like Batman Arkham Knight. Look at games like, since they love live service, let's look at Destiny 2. Destiny 2 had story to it. Now, I know I personally think the story sometimes is kind of mid. These stories are not like masterpieces, but they did have a charm. They did have certain gravitas to it, and I personally love sci-fi, so they did have some form of story in them if you wanted it. They had campaigns, right? So even in the live service games that are working or that are functioning up until now, there is some form of a story aspect, some form of quasi single player aspect to it, which is keeping it going. Same with GTA Online. You have some cutscenes in it, you have some missions in it. They keep varying the design. Yes, they do reuse a lot of assets. They also use the same A to B mission. Go to A, kill them, come back to B. They do reuse that as well. I'm not saying they don't, but at least there is some reason, some variation, and a lot of depth, a lot of progression, and a lot of incentive to be in those game worlds. But the live services games that have been coming lately, especially since Concord, especially since Suicide Squad, they have all been downhill. Like generic quality, very medium-ish games. Like there is nothing remarkable about them. And the funny thing is when you put them all in, just think it this way. When you list down all the games, all the live service games that we have seen in the last 2 years. Okay, just list them down on paper or just type it down in your notepad or something in the laptop and just search about them on Google and look at each of those images of those games. Like, look at their art style, look at their world design, look at their guns, look at their UI. They all look the same generic, boring designs. Like, there's no identity to them, to any of them, and that is the problem with those kind of games. No identity. So these are the reasons, in my opinion, that live service games are dead service games to me. They are dead on arrival. They don't serve anything. I don't know why they are called live service. They think they are providing us a service, but they are not providing us anything. There is no story. There is no sticky factor to it that we can stick with the game. We can just progress. Now, some games which are existing right now, they do have a legacy behind them. They have a brand value attached to it. That is why they are afloat. So these new game companies that think they can capitalize on the live service genre, they are not understanding that the live service games that exist today, or which take up majority of the player base, they have a brand value attached to it. They just refuse to accept it. GTA Online is a brand attached to a legacy of Grand Theft Auto. Destiny 2 is attached to the brand value of Bungie. And Fortnite is, well, Fortnite. Fortnite just is an exception, right? So these things they are not either. So here's the thing. I personally think that developers are living in their own echo chambers, right? They are not willing to listen. They are not equipped to listen. Or C, they listen but they try to ignore all the gaming community, the entire gaming community. And if that is the thing that is happening, then this is the most saddest thing to experience as a gamer, that these people are just ignoring the community. Instead of giving us games like Titanfall 3, they are giving us Highguard. Instead of giving games, good single player games, they are giving us Concord. Instead of a good Arkham game, they give us Suicide Squad. Like, how many examples do these companies need to just say that, okay man, we need to chuck this plan out and let's not focus more on live service. Let's try to revive some old franchises. Like, where is Killzone 4? Like, I know, after Shadowfall, where is Killzone Shadowfall 2? Where is Prototype 3? Come on, guys. Where is Max Payne? Okay, while Rockstar is busy with GTA and Red Dead, but you get the point, right? Where is Resistance? Where are these games? These charming games? Where is Fear? Where is the next Fear game or something like it? These games are what makes gaming fun, not live service games. Yes, they do have some longevity, and I'm also guilty of wasting my time in these games. But these games also have some redeeming factors, some of the live service games. But the ones which have been coming out lately, none of them give me any sort of an idea or trust value that I can say that, okay, I'll keep playing this game. And one thing that I'm really proud of this community, and the only redeeming factor in the gaming industry, is the gaming community. Because we as gamers have been able to call them out every time this sort of generic games are revealed. We know at that very instant that this game is going to flop, and that is something which I'm really proud of, that I am a gamer, that and I'm part of this community which can smell bullshit from a mile away, and I love that. And I love that feeling when I see that people start commenting on these game releases, on the game trailers. The moment they have been showed in live chat, you can sense that gamers know, we all know as players, that these games are not gonna last. And it also happens to be true 100% of the times. Like, I have never seen an instance where people or the whole community as a whole say that, okay, this game doesn't look good, and it actually turns out to be very good and gamers are proved wrong. Those instances have never happened, almost never happened, that a game has given a bad impression and then turns around to be good. Like, I don't remember any instance where that has happened. And that is something I'm really amazed and really proud that we all as a community have been able to call it out that okay, this will not work, and that actually does not work. So it's good. And even I was in a phase when I was a young kid, I was a teenager, I used to just be hyped up about the trailers, but not anymore, because you cannot fool people anymore, right? You have these social media channels now, everybody knows each another opinions, they can watch several channels, they can make their own decisions now. So you cannot fool people by saying that, oh, we worked hard on the games. Well, you did work hard on the game, but I I didn't have a hard on for your game, if you catch my drift. So that's about it, man. The live service games are dead service games to me. And yeah, that's all about this video. I hope you guys have a good life and stay happy and keep gaming.